Get ready to take a journey through one of the most intriguing and mysterious stories in biblical history. The epic battle between the Archangel Michael and Satan himself over the body of Moses has fascinated and captivated believers for centuries. This fascinating story is shrouded in mystery and has left many unanswered questions that excite researchers and believers alike. Join us as we explore the mysteries and wisdom the story holds. The story of Michael's argument with Satan over Moses' body is found in the Book of Jude, a short letter written to early Christian believers. It contains warnings about false teachings and encourages believers to remain steadfast in their faith. In Jude 1:9, the author briefly mentions the epic battle between Michael and Satan over the body of Moses. But what makes this event so intriguing? In spite of its brevity, this event has for centuries attracted the attention of believers trying to uncover its meaning and significance. The context surrounding it is no less important as it sheds light on the character of Michael and his role as Archangel. Also, the story of Moses' death and the place of his burial has great significance as it highlights the importance of honoring God and not idealizing holy places. Prepare to discover the secrets and wisdom of this epic story that has captivated believers for centuries. The mysterious death of Moses. The biblical account of Moses' death is a poignant moment in the history of the Israelites. After leading his people for decades, the revered leader passed away at the age of 120 years old, as detailed in Deuteronomy 34. Despite not being permitted to enter the Promised Land, he was granted a final glimpse of it before his passing, a testament to his unwavering faith and commitment to his people. God himself personally buried Moses in an undisclosed location, which only adds to the enigma surrounding this monumental figure. The fact that both Michael and Satan were embroiled in a dispute over his body serves as evidence of the immense respect and reverence with which Moses was held, even after his death. For believers, Moses' story represents a call to remain steadfast in their faith, even in the face of great adversity. The importance of honoring the dead, as well as the sacredness of burial rites, is also emphasized throughout the Bible, with Moses' burial serving as a prime example of this time-honored tradition. The legacy of Moses, one of the most revered figures in Judaism and Christianity, continues to resonate with people around the world. As we consider the events surrounding his death and burial, we are reminded of the power of spiritual struggle and the importance of preserving our beliefs and traditions. The mysterious location of Moses' burial site, known only to God, may seem curious to some, but it serves as a critical reminder of the dangers of idolatry and the need to protect spiritual practices from being corrupted. Michael, the Archangel, recognized the potential threat to Moses' legacy and fought to keep the burial site a secret, emphasizing the importance of honoring and respecting the deceased in ways that do not compromise spiritual principles. Ultimately, the story of Moses' death and burial highlights the importance of remaining true to our spiritual beliefs and principles, even in the face of opposition and adversity. By doing so, we honor the legacies of those who have come before us and ensure that their teachings continue to inspire and guide us in our own lives. The dispute over Moses' body. In the annals of biblical history, a peculiar event occurred at the burial site of Moses, the great prophet and leader of the Israelites. The scant mention of this event has left believers pondering the mystery of what truly transpired. One theory posits that the Dark Prince himself, Satan, sought to transform the burial place of Moses into a shrine, thus leading the Israelites astray towards idolatry. This notion is not without precedent, as the Israelites have frequently succumbed to the temptation of worshiping false gods, a behavior the Bible warns against repeatedly. Another hypothesis suggests that the Satan aimed to prevent the proper burial and honoring of Moses' body, an act that would dishonor the prophet and undermine the faith of the Israelites. The honoring of the dead holds great importance in biblical teachings. Regardless of the reason behind this celestial skirmish, the biblical passage suggests that a fierce spiritual battle ensued between Michael, the archangel, and Satan over the body of Moses. This struggle serves as a reminder of the reality of spiritual warfare and the necessity for believers to stand resolute against the enemy's assaults. Above all, it exhorts them to uphold God's honor and refrain from transforming sacred places or objects into idols. When we go deeper into the story of the struggle between Michael and Satan for Moses' body, it becomes clear that this event has significant implications for Michael's role and importance as an archangel. The Bible describes Michael as a mighty warrior angel who fights against evil and protects God's people. In the book of Daniel, he is even called the Prince of Israel, and in Revelation 12:7-9 he is shown as the leader of the heavenly hosts against the forces of Satan. But despite his immense power and authority, Michael is also presented as deeply respected and submissive to God's authority. In Jude 1:9 we see him simply saying to Satan, "The Lord rebuke you," indicating that he relies on God's power and guidance even in the most intense spiritual battles. The account of Moses' death and the dispute over his body also reminds us of the enduring power of his teachings, which have influenced generations of believers. As a prophet and messenger of God, Moses' legacy is not tied to his physical remains but to the principles he espoused and the lessons he imparted. The lesson for believers today is clear. Even when facing trials and spiritual battles, they must rely on God's power and guidance, not their own abilities. This story also highlights the importance of humility and submission to God's authority, even when it may seem difficult or defies logic. As we reflect on the significance of this event, it is important to remember the power of faith and the importance of relying on God in all aspects of our lives. Here's a reminder: if you'd like to continue exploring fascinating stories from the Bible and beyond, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Archangel Michael, the Divine Warrior. In the pages of the Bible, the character of Michael stands out as a paragon of humility and obedience. As an archangel, he is renowned for his complete submission to God's will and his unwavering devotion to serving the Almighty. Throughout the Scriptures, we see Michael as a symbol of surrender and humility, never daring to act or speak on his own authority, but always seeking to carry out God's divine plan. His example serves as a powerful reminder to believers of the importance of submitting to God's will and living a life of obedience. Indeed, the theme of submission is a recurring motif in the Bible, with numerous passages stressing the importance of surrendering to God's guidance. In James 4:7, for instance, believers are admonished to obey God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. This verse highlights the connection between obedience to God and victory over evil, and underscores the importance of humility and obedience in the spiritual journey. The importance of submission to God's authority. Behold, the Archangel Michael, guardian of the people of Israel, a powerful and righteous warrior angel who confronts evil spirits and principalities. In the book of Daniel, he is called upon to speak for the Lord, leaving all reproof to God, as a testament to his complete submission to the divine will. Despite his formidable power, Michael's humility and obedience serve as a powerful example for believers to follow. His example illustrates that submission to God's authority does not diminish one's power, purpose, or worth, but instead allows one to act in the fullness of God's power and to live according to his will. The Bible is a book filled with hidden and coded messages, which can be subject to different interpretations. It is fascinating that just one sentence in the story of Moses' burial site and the role of the Archangel Michael carries such profound messages about submission to God's authority. This teaches us that even the most powerful beings in the spiritual realm are subject to God's will, and we should follow their example. If you like this video, support us by subscribing to the channel and leave a comment.